Ladies and gentlemen, if you can start moving in and take your seat, we'll be starting in just a moment.
I had to use my Wi-Fi to watch it.
6:33, we're going to call this special meeting of the Joshua City Council to order. We're meeting at 301 South Main, True Life Church, on February 12th of 2026. We do have a quorum present. At this time, if everyone would please rise, gentlemen, remove your hats. Mike Kidd is going to lead us in the pledges for the U.S. flag and the Texas flag, and please remain standing. Pastor Chris Copeland from True Life Church will do our invocation. Of the United States of America, and to the republic.
Lord Jesus, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our city tonight. We thank you for the officials and the citizens of this beautiful community. We pray you put your hand up on this meeting and let your divine and perfect will be done. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
The first item on our agenda this evening is our consent agenda. There's 3 items listed on it. Item number 1 is discuss, consider, and possible action on a resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the Office of the Governor for the provisions of police portable radios pursuant to grant number 5495201. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and possible action on the purchase of a backhoe loader unit using Sourcewell contract pricing. Item number 3, discuss, consider, and possible action on the purchase of an asphalt distributor truck using buy-board contract pricing. All these items have been talked about and voted on by the council and in the budget. Does anybody have any questions or want to break any of these items out as separate? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So be it, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion, we accept all 3 on the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Merle, seconded by Shelley, to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Moving into our regular agenda. As everyone knows, City of Joshua has been anxiously awaiting movement on the grade change at our 917 railroad track. It's been a long time coming, and we are seeing some movement. We have some people here from the Texas Council of Governments and TxDOT to talk about it. After they have done their presentations, we will be discussing and possibly passing a resolution supporting an overpass as opposed to the underpass. When you hear the presentations, you'll understand why we consider the overpass a lot better option than the underpass at this time. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Michael Morris from the North Texas Central Council of Governments to come forward and do his presentation.
Mr.
Mr.
Mayor,
Morris, can you move over to this microphone?
sorry, Mayor, this isn't my regular church, so I apologize. I'll be speaking on the New Testament. The Old Testament is... my name is Michael Morris. I'm the Director of Transportation at the North Central Texas Council of Governments. I'm the Staff Director to the Regional Transportation Council. Ironically, the Regional Transportation Council met earlier today on your project. I want to introduce a few people. You know your judges here from Johnson County, if the judge would stand. Commissioner Bailey, you know him as Commissioner Bailey. We know him as Chairman Bailey. He's the current chairman of the Regional Transportation Council. I think they're grading my presentation today, so I hope I do well. Millie from our staff is our chief engineer on this project. Mayor, she's spending a lot of time with you to help me get this project across the goal line. Michael is here from TxDOT. Michael has jumped in to help me make up for lost time. My goal today is for you to see TxDOT's commitment to getting this project done. We already have sent a note to the mayor that we at the Regional Transportation Council will make sure this project is fully funded so this project can proceed on time. And the conversation today is basically twofold. With your concurrence, we can take 3 years off the schedule and build the project faster. And I'll show you a little information on that. And then I'm coining the phrase Destination Joshua. I'm suggesting having some Destination Joshua economic development, creating jobs in your downtown area. A whole host of examples I'm going to share with you. I don't really care which of these you choose. It sure would be nice to be able to build a facility that provides the mobility necessary in the region, but it would also be nice to have a destination to create economic value for your community over time. I purposely took 917 from 360 to get here today. I was going to make a joke. I left on a Wednesday and arrived on Thursday to make that. That is a hell of a journey on 917 from 360 to this particular location. It is critical: safety, mobility, economic development, planning for the future. We do not have enough intersection capacity. I'm scared to death of rear-end collisions at left turn movements. I'm scared of death of people passing on a pretty narrow facility. I think someone along the way purposely mistimed 3 traffic signals that I took notes on that I'm going to come back and try to do something about. But in all seriousness, today is your day, and we hope to lay out that vision both by myself and Michael with regard to moving forward. Earlier today, at our request, the Regional Transportation Council, if you go to the next slide, approved this project, one of 3 projects in the Dallas-Fort Worth region, to be submitted to the federal government under the Build Grant program. This particular project we think will compete well because technically it's in the rural area, even though we in this region think it's very much urban. The federal government will describe this as rural, so it'll be competing largely as an urban grade separation, competing against rural projects. The non-federal portion, Michael's representing TxDOT's financial commitment at $11 million. Today I'm representing the chairman's commitment at $10 million. And our federal request to the federal government going to Washington, D.C. is $16 million. This project's currently slotted at $38 million. Lots of detail on this particular page. Mayor, I'd hope this page would be communicated to, Millie will make sure you have these slides and communicated to all interested parties for them to digest those financial details. You'll hear from Michael in a moment. If you go under, you're going to trigger a potential implementation date of 2034. If we can go over, you can see us finishing the environmental 26-27 timeframe, probably roughly a year or so from now. Michael will tell you. Begin construction in 29, which is moving very fast, for opening day in 2031. Now, I'm not trying to get you continuing education credits on this story, but going over the railroad will result in much easier conversations because they'll be concerned about when Michael's hanging beams over an active railroad. Going under a railroad will be a 3-year very intense negotiations because the railroad will want not a temporary shoe fly, but a permanent new shoe fly and a permanent old capacity and a much wider structure, and moving freight trains on a structure in order to build an underpass is a very complicated problem with railroads often not interested in that particular strategy. The RTC originally committed to this project in 2016, Regional Transportation Council, my policy committee. So I'm trying to do everything, partnering with Michael and trying to be innovative to get the project to construction as quickly as possible. So Millie has put together some pictures, and I'd like to shift towards Destination Joshua. I would like, Mayor, for you to lead either our staff or your staff and the community to create a vision, what it wishes to have in Destination Placemaking downtown Joshua. And I'm just going to show you a few pictures. So if you go to the next slide, you obviously see what I experienced for the last hour. If you want to look at some regional examples of what it is we're discussing, I think these are places the community should visit so they can say, hey, I like that, but I'd like this to be different. If you look at the first slide, We spent maybe a year of our professional life doing the Chisholm Trail as it crosses over the Trinity River. You can see architectural features, creative lighting, murals. If you go to the next slide, here's Dallas at Carpenter Park. You can see, I wouldn't necessarily look at the structure. You want a dog park, you want landscaping. I'm interested, is there private economic development that can occur with regard to shops and other things, food trucks, those particular items. I think Dallas, on the next slide, at Good Latimer, you could have a dog park. They have a very unique pedestrian way. I think there's lots of attributes. This would be a second bite at the apple for us to help pay for these particular elements while Michael is working on the facility and project itself. Here is Dallas at Lover's Lane. Interesting ways to design the structure. Certain columns and beam design elements into the structure could occur. Other examples of Joshua placemaking, other examples of public art, if that's where the community wishes to go. Dallas High Line are some examples of lighting that is of interest potentially to the community. Again, some discussion of murals. These are places you can visit. Downtown Carrollton, these were locations associated with the Dart Line. Carrollton is a terrific example of creating a whole new downtown environment where all the rail lines are coming in over and creating placemaking underneath those particular facilities. Farmers Branch, again, Millie having some examples with regard to introduction of thoroughfare streets. So are there thoroughfare streets that would cross underneath the grade separation to connect parts of the downtown that wouldn't need to cross 917 at grade, creating accessibility for both pedestrians and roadways. Project in San Antonio at Market Square. You can see, in this case, basketball courts, other things integrated into the design. I think you should look at your history. Your community was built here largely on the back of the railroad. There may be some elements of your history that need to be integrated to create that legacy component to what it is we're doing today. Here's some example in Houston. Again, a grade separation that also includes a thoroughfare street. One of the benefits of going over is you then have a whole bunch of land that can serve as a secondary purpose. If you go under, that land is not functional over your roadway. So it's an opportunity to create a bigger vision, maybe working with Economic Development Department, other visioning things you've done in your community over time. And then I think we end with some other examples of underpass treatments. You have a very gifted engineering firm that's on this particular project that Michael will introduce. Again, maybe lighting isn't what you're interested in, and maybe it's more, economic development, but these certainly are your choices. The path forward, next steps, ending my presentation is TxDOT is our partner. We will be with you through the implementation of this project, both Millie and myself. We have submitted this project, approved today unanimously by the Regional Transportation Council. I think it's an honor for you to have one of 3 projects that we submitted. We will coordinate with all partners to continue to shave time off the schedule, and we wish to participate whenever TxDOT comes out. The good news is you have federal funds. The bad news is you have federal funds. There's a host of public meetings and check boxes we need to go through. We don't want to do this twice, so we will be Michael's partner in helping in coordination of public comments. So, Mr. Mayor, you came to our office, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. I saw the frustration on your face. August. I know we committed in 2016. I think a lot of things were going on at TxDOT. Michael is a new lead engineer in that district. We have come to you maybe 6 weeks ago before Christmas, our commitment on this particular project. We have a long way to go. We think it's exciting that a whole bunch of folks are coming out here to make sure we do it right. If we're going to do it and spend $30, $40 million on a very short transportation piece that's critical for your community, I would like to explore a comprehensive destination component to help you on the economic development side. So I will stop there. Mayor, I don't know if I can answer questions. I don't know what your procedures are, but thank you very much for having me here today.
Do any of the council members have questions? Microphone, please. No questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Before Michael starts, the other Michael starts, I'd also like to recognize our state representative, Helen Kerwin, here that's with us. We have our county commissioner, Larry Woolley, with us, county commissioner Kenny Howe with us. We also have Giovanni, and I'm not going to butcher your last name, I promise, from Senator Ted Cruz's office. So we have some people here that are very interested in what's going on in the city of Joshua. We are ready to do what we need to do to help you get this project moving as quickly as possible. Michael, it's all yours.
All right, I'm Michael Haithcock. I'm the TP&D director for the TxDOT Fort Worth District. I have 9 counties, 91 cities, 100 employees. We let the construction about $500 million a year. I represent the Old Testament. Maybe it's because I'm 66 years old, but me and Moses, we did a lot of great projects together. Okay, so first a little bit about my background, because I'm hoping to be here for a number of years. I've been with TxDOT for 11 and a half years. My first 32 years were in Atlanta, Georgia, downtown Atlanta, Georgia. And I worked in pre-construction, delivering projects for the state of Georgia for 32 years. Then I got offered a job, the same job in Abilene for 11 years. I was there for 11 years in the same role. And I got offered to come here in August, and I was very excited about coming here. Very much wanted to be part of Fort Worth and what's going on in Fort Worth. So I'm new to the Fort Worth district, but the first thing I want to give you is my opinion on what happened, because I know it's been 12 years, and I know that this is a reboot. And this is just a opinion from someone coming in from the outside, okay? Because most of the people who started this are no longer with TxDOT. They're retired or they're doing something different. But anytime you do an environmental schematic, there's lots of risk involved. And you have to look at things like history, wetlands, endangered species, public participation. And it's often that mistakes are made, okay? But on this project, 6 mistakes were made, all right? There's 6 different alignments. And a couple of times they thought they had it, and then when they ran into a roadblock, things got paused. Sometimes it was because of funding, sometimes it was because of change of priorities or management, but you know, it was just extremely embarrassing what's happened. The other thing is, when me and Michael Morris first looked at it, we both instantly said, there's no way 917 should go under the railroad tracks. That's just doesn't make any sense. What I think happened, and what I've heard happened, is there was lots of public support for going under the railroad. And There are problems with that. First of all, the railroad's not going to support anything that makes their tracks structurally unsound because you're digging out underneath the railroad. The other thing is the railroad's going to ask that we build an alternate railroad. First, that adds 3 years building that alternate railroad. And then the other thing is there are going to be drainage issues. Anytime you go under and I'm in Abilene, and Abilene has a railroad track that goes through town, and you go under the road track. I mean, every time there's a heavy rain, it's a hazard. Cars flood out, and drowning's possible. Also, my wife and I were in an automobile accident where we didn't have sight distance because we went under a railroad track. So there are lots of problems with that design. And when Michael and I first looked at it, we instantly said it would be easier to start over than to continue down this path. And I think that was about 3 months ago. So long story short, lots of mistakes were made. Extremely embarrassing. Extremely, extremely, extremely embarrassing. So I've been here since September. So when Michael and I started looking at this project, and when upper management started looking at this project, where can we go from here? Where can we go from here? So basically, Michael said funding is not going to be a problem. He will take care of funding one way or another. Then I said on the TxDOT side, when it comes to my consultant, Pape Dawson, when it comes to my right-of-way acquisition, which is TxDOT funding, that won't be an issue. So in my opinion, and I've been doing this a long time, there are 2 main obstacles. One's the environmental document, and the other is acquisition of right-of-way. So the environmental document could be a year, could be 18 months, depending on what we find. When we go out there, and the consultants here, they can, Matt Estes can address some of these questions too. But we should be looking at 1 year to 18 months when it comes to getting an environmental document. The next thing is you've got approximately 20 parcels of right-of-way, and you have relocations. You have houses that are going to be completely bought out. In this state, nobody just gives you their land. Okay, right-of-way negotiations are typically pretty intense. Sometimes it even goes into eminent domain. So I think it will take probably 2 years to buy the right-of-way. Everything else that we do as far as preparing plans and getting railroad agreements, I think can fall within that 4 years. So I think 4 years is an aggressive but realistic timetable. Something me and the mayor have talked about, something me and Michael have talked about, is there are breakout things that can be done. Maybe there can be enhancements done when we buy right away. Maybe there can be landscaping or like you said, basketball courts and stuff. There are things that can be done before the entire project is complete. So that's my opinion. At this point, I'm going to open it up to questions, and nothing's off the table. I'll be completely transparent with any kind of questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer.
Any questions from council?
Yes, sir.
Use your microphone, Mike.
So the 1 to 1.5 years for the study, are we going to be doing the right-of-way acquirement at that same time? Are we overlapping them?
I can't do that.
It has to be done first.
Yeah, Senator Cruz's representative is here. There are federal laws. Like Michael Morris said, Michael Morris is a brilliant guy. The good news is we got federal money. The bad news is we got federal money. So the NEPA laws, which were written in the 70s, they very much require that I have an environmental document done and public support before we start buying right-of-way. We can't start buying right-of-way. We can't start making offers until we complete that NEPA process.
Anybody else?
I'll tell you what we can do is we can do right-of-way plans. So we can go at risk and assume that that document is going to be approved. We can do appraisals, but we can't make offers until the environmental document is signed.
I know this project's been kicked around since 2016. I know there's been studies done. Can we not use previously done environmental studies and just amend them with whatever changes need to be made? Or do we have to go through the whole process again?
Hey, Matt, can I get you to help me out on this one? I'm not exactly sure what can be used and what cannot be retained.
I think one item that really supports what the mayor's asking is, I believe all the work that created the alignment, at least the last meeting I was in, that's still the preferred alignment. So all of that particular work that's been done, that reached a consensus on where the facility should be, I think all of that is extremely valuable and can be used to help expedite the environmental process. To make sure one doesn't entertain a legal action, I think it's just important for Michael to take the best he can from all of that, so we don't lose consensus from the community on where they wanted the facility to be, and dot the i's and cross the t's and move forward as efficiently as he possibly can. But I don't believe we're wiping this whole slate clean. I think there's consensus from the community on where it should be. I think that's going to be reiterated today. That would be a nice affirmation to get soon. I think the biggest thing we're trying to do is, instead of going under, we go over on that preferred alignment. So I think, Mayor, your point is, I think that effort resulted in the correct alignment. I don't think there's any interest to start that over. But Michael does have to confirm, is this a community, before we move too much further, is this the alignment that everyone agrees to?
Okay.
Hey, 1 minute. So before I let Matt Estes, my consultant, speak on the matter, I really hate to make environmental predictions. Okay, we've already done 6 alignments. They hit a historic property and everything started all over again. There's all kinds of different facets of environmental, and sometimes they don't agree with each other. Sometimes the historic people don't agree with the wetlands people, who don't agree with the environmental justice people, who don't agree with ICE, indirect and cumulative effects people. So there are lots of different things at play. I don't sleep well until we have a signed document from the federal government, and then we're good. So I really hate. I agree with Michael Morris. I agree that there shouldn't be a whole lot of rework, but I really hate to make a commitment to you. Matt?
I'm Matt Estes with Pape Dawson Engineers. We're the consultant working with TxDOT to develop the schematic and environmental document, and I'm the project manager responsible for helping our team get that work done. And I'd agree with what both Michaels have told you, that the environmental is based on an alignment that was set a few years ago, and we feel like that is still the alignment. That's the direction that we've been given to work with that. It's been investigated and looked at in the past, and we do have those previous investigations to work from and the data that was collected with them. What we need to do is to make sure that they still function within the current scope of the law. As you know, new administrations come in, they change some of the rules. Sometimes we find new things, and all of the studies that have been done previously have expiration dates. So we need to make sure that all of the work is done in the right time frame, so that when we get to the construction phase now, that the studies won't have expired again. So we'll complete those studies, make sure that everything is back-checked and everything is current and following the law at the time that it's signed. And that'll make sure that when we get to the construction side later on, that there won't be anybody questioning whether the right I's have been dotted and T's have been crossed, so that we get the environmental, so that we maintain the environmental approval all the way through construction.
Would you be kind enough, we're using the word alignment.
Sure.
Would you explain what alignment we are looking at and what we're kind of trying to set tonight?
Absolutely. So the alignment that we've been looking at is an alignment that is in between 12th and 14th Streets, between the railroad tracks and State Highway 174. So it comes in from the west on 14th Street, crosses, starts to divert from 14th Street around Eddy Avenue, crosses the railroad tracks. As an overpass now is the grade that we're looking at. We call the profile the way it looks vertically, the grade. So it crosses above grade, about halfway between the two, and then continues and starts to touch back down near Wayside. It'll stay elevated above. So it would cross Santa Fe, Manson, the railroad tracks, and Main Street, all elevated, and then touch back down near Wayside, and then turn towards 12th Street again, where it crosses today at 174. So that's the general alignment. You can see that in the exhibits that we've got outside, so that folks can understand what that is.
I just wanted to make sure everybody understood what alignment was and what we were talking about.
Sure.
That is the alignment that we have been looking at for an underpass as well.
Yes, it is.
So changing that area is not part of the problem. I just know, like I said, it's been studied to death. Hopefully some of what's been used already we can use again and maybe speed the process up a little bit.
Absolutely. Like the data collection, the raw data collection is still good. What we need to do is to verify that there's nothing new. So we'll do a cursory review of that, do some field visits if necessary, and then continue the environmental investigations from where they were left off previously.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, Shelley?
I understand the environmental document is, I understand the environmental document is uncertainty, so you don't know what you're gonna cover up. Outside of that, are there any concerns for roadblocks or any particular areas that you're concerned about that might derail or delay or cause problems?
I don't, I would say no. Okay, the difference in this project and some other projects is Michael Morris has opened the checkbook, said funding's not a problem. This project has been such a blemish for TxDOT. It's become one of my biggest priorities. This is something we have to deliver. Get the environmental document, then it's full speed ahead. That is right-of-way acquisition and doing the construction plans. I don't see anything else. I don't see anything stopping if we have construction funding.
One of the reasons we're here is if we have an overpass, I think that eliminates the biggest concern I have. If we somehow leave and we have an underpass, then all bets are off on how fast we can do it, because we can't control what the railroad's appetite is. So the biggest concern, I think, is if you'd permit us to go over, I believe that's the biggest risk we have. Is we went into a meeting with an inherited position of going under, and we're pleading with the council to permit us to take 3 years off and go over the railroad.
I understand the railroad, and there's been a lot of conversations with them. Has there been conversations with the local utility districts and the impact to them or any concerns
There
that
haven't,
they've had?
because we don't have an approved schematic. We don't have an approved environmental document, but I don't see that being a factor. I've never had a project that just stopped because of utilities. Utility relocations, they're either reimbursable, or if they're on our right-of-way, then by law, they have to move. So I don't see utilities being a deal breaker. It's not our dime. It's not our, for the most part, usually we don't have to pay for the relocations.
You don't have to pay for the relocations because the district does?
Well, if So they're not losing any money.
Okay,
So typically, it's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of killing a project,
okay.
okay?
We just had a very expensive water line put right through that street that there was a lot of heartburn around the ratepayers paying for that and the citizens. So we're just wanting to make sure that that's taken into consideration on how
Okay.
that will be impacted.
Matt, are utilities reimbursable, or how much are reimbursable, do you know?
So this is a new alignment project. So the utilities, in general, we're going to be going in locations where the utilities aren't today because we are on new alignment. We will cross several streets, right? Munson, Santa Fe, Main Street, they're all going to be crossed above grade. So there may be conflicts with bridge foundations, but we would try to locate those in places that don't have utility conflicts. But generally, when you've got the new alignment situation like that, those would be reimbursable if we do run into problems or into conflicts. The ends of the project where it returns back to 917, beyond the railroad tracks, beyond 174, those would typically be the areas that might not be reimbursable. So that might be how this ends up getting broken out. We're still working through some of those details, and we'll have utility coordination meetings as we hit milestones in the schematic and environmental development to make sure that all the utilities are on board and understand what the parameters are so they can get prepared.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Anyone from the audience have a question? Once again, you can ask it.
We're going to have a public forum. We've got people that have signed up to speak.
All right.
So we will be inviting them up to speak, and whoever needs to answer a question can stand up and answer the question. Item number 3 of the regular agenda is to discuss, consider, and possible action on a resolution expressing support for the 917 railroad grade separation project. That would be both the alignment and going with an overpass. Unless somebody has an objection, I would like to go into the public forum and let our citizens tell us what they're thinking and what their questions are before we make a decision on that. Anybody have a problem with that? Okay. As people came in, you were asked to sign a sheet. You were also given a number. Our first speaker is Carol Philly. So Carol, if you can come on down, and if number 2 would start coming, this microphone over here to your left, my right, and if speaker number 2 would start making their way down, that would be Mark Rayburn. Just kind of stand back and let her have her time. We are going to kind of limit this to 3 minutes or so. We want to give as many people a chance to speak as we can.
I'll
Please
try
go.
not to be too wordy. My name is Carol Kennel Philly. I live in Joshua. I always have a bunch of questions because I'm nosy. There's an awful lot that can be done, I'm sure. Now, being over 60, I want to make sure that we've got some senior stuff, but also having senior stuff, having good parking for senior stuff is important to me. The access, security is going to be something that I'm interested in. The maintenance, I have a feeling our Parks Department's got that under control, so I'm not concerned about that. The type of trees, the type of plants and so forth, I'd like to know what has been successful and not successful in other projects. As I was looking at the pictures, I didn't see an awful lot of plant life.
The pictures that you've seen are just a concept. There has been no decisions made concerning the specific layout of the parks or any of that kind of thing, the plants, the areas, all that. All that is still in the planning stage, and we will be holding other meetings to discuss specifically what we want in the park and all that kind of stuff.
I understand that. What I was referring to is some of the other projects like in Dallas and Fort Worth's Chisholm Trail aspects. I didn't see much as far as plant life and I couldn't tell what type of trees and stuff. I just wanted to find out with the projects that have been out there for a while, was there anything that just didn't work? I mean, why put in something that's not going to work? So I want to be cognizant of that. Just minor stuff, you know, I'd like to be part of every meeting that comes up, so the more information I have, the less questions I'll have.
We'll make
Thanks.
sure that any meetings that are scheduled are well publicized. Okay, Mark Rayburn, number 2. Our third speaker will be Paula Clark.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Mark Rayburn, and I'll be pretty brief. One, textile, thank you very much. I think this offer is fantastic. I'm very much in favor. And my only input
mic up a little bit.
and my only input would be that of the mock-up there, which I know nothing is finalized, it shows a dog park, and I would request that we actually serve humans instead with that space. So, and if I were to make a suggestion, I've heard that we need a roller hockey rink here in Joshua. So, just saying, yeah, something for families. All right, that's all.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Okay. Speaker number 3, Ms. Clark.
I'm Paula Clark. I don't live here, but I grew up here, but my mom's property is right in the middle of this thing, so I'm here for her. I understood that the project the reasoning, but it went from an underpass to an overpass, so I'll go away from that. Will the property owners be notified when title searches begin and all that stuff starts? Or are they going to be kept in the loop, or is it just hear from you one day and 3 years later hear from you again?
So at the public meeting, you'll meet our right-of-way representatives. We'll keep you informed throughout the process.
Okay.
We have about a dozen right-of-way representatives that work in our district.
Okay.
And we can tell you who it is. Let me give you my personal opinion about right-of-way, because I know it's a very emotional decision. We have a very good record of making fair market offers. Okay, we have a very good record of that. If you don't think you're getting a fair offer, you can go in front of 3 commissioners appointed by the judge, and they can hear your version of why you don't think it's a fair offer.
Okay.
Okay, if you still aren't happy, you can take us to court. Okay, and we also we pay typically we pay a percentage up front just to get access for the property. Okay, so if you're a willing seller, we will pay you a percentage to get access, and then the actual amount that you receive will be negotiated later.
Okay.
Okay.
Who will be doing the appraisals?
We hire appraisers.
Okay.
Okay, so that's
So
one
it's
reason.
not the appraisals already set in motion by the county?
No.
Okay.
And this is why I said typically it takes 6 months to do right-of-way plans, because then we have to hire appraisers. And then once again, if you're not happy with your appraisal, you can go in front of a three-person commissioners, and you can tell them why you think you deserve more money, and you can give any reason you want. Then if you're still not happy, there are plenty of lawyers that will take up your case for eminent domain.
Already gotten a couple of letters over the last couple of years.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
And I tell you what happens a lot of times is when we give you money for access, a lot of times people take that money and they hire their lawyers.
Yeah.
They hire lawyers, I guess. I think
I've
there are
got
probably
another question.
several in this room here that want to speak to you.
Once federal funds are approved,
Yes.
can they ever be rescinded or decreased?
I've never seen that.
Or as far as like the right-of-ways go, do the federal funds include that, the right-of-way money? That's what I'm worried
The
about.
right-of-way
If y'all
money-
set this amount up here on the board,
Okay.
and it's gonna cost this, and say there's something going on with federal funding, or we have a change of president or whatever,
I understand.
is the money still gonna be there for the residents?
Okay. I have hundreds and hundreds of projects. Michael Morris has thousands and thousands of projects. This is a top 5 project for both of us because it's taken so long. Because Michael has come and said, I'm opening my checkbook, okay? The federal money's not gonna go away, and my right-of-way money's not gonna go away on this. The only thing we're looking at is how long is this gonna take? It's a very bureaucratic process because of federal law, like Michael said, but funding is not gonna be an issue either on the, I hate to say this, for right-of-way or for construction, funding's not gonna be a question.
One more quick question.
That's fine.
I can't remember what it was now. Oh, what is gonna be the plan for rerouting all this traffic during this project? Where's the traffic gonna go? How are we gonna get from?
The consultant's gonna figure that out.
Are they-
Where's Matt? No, you can stay, that's what we're paying him, for.
Does he have an answer
There'll be
tonight?
times that 917 is closed, but hopefully it's just for a few hours while they're doing construction, okay? But he's gonna keep track. There'll be detours if it has to have detours, but once again, 917 or the detour will stay open. You wanna address that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's actually another benefit of it being an overpass versus an underpass, is we can construct it in stages, kind of one span at a time, and limit the amounts of closures or of detours that are necessary, and also being on a new alignment helps as well. So if you go out and actually kind of look through the plan that we've got out there, you'll see that it's actually not a lot that's on the existing routes. It's west of the railroad tracks, east of 174. Those areas, they'll kind of have the typical, and it can be a little painful. I totally understand that. I don't like it when I'm even driving through some of the old traffic controls that I've designed. But it's necessary and we'll try to limit those as much as possible. We'll work with the district to make sure that we've got that set up. So safety is the number 1 priority anytime that we're doing a traffic control setup, but we're also going to make sure that we're not putting the contractor in any kind of a jam, that we've got the right space for him to lay down all of his equipment and his materials, and that he can work. And we will be doing that process all the way from now to when it gets built.
All right, thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you for your questions. Judge Boddicker. And number 5 is Jerome Norris.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Christopher Bedecker. I'm the Johnson County Judge. I don't have comments about the specific project other than to say that over the last 3 years, the county has engaged in a master thoroughfare plan. As part of that, we had multiple public meetings in Burleson, Cleburne. We met with city officials and citizens from Joshua. And consistently, this project was identified as one of the most important projects in all of Johnson County. I am not a Joshua resident, but we are glad to partner with you on this project in the way that your citizens want to see it done. And I'm incredibly excited to see representatives from the state legislature, from a senator's office, from the Regional Council of Governments, from the state of Texas. We have representatives from all the people that can make this happen. Makes the county a pretty small player in this, but we want to be a good partner to it. I think we've been good partners with the city of Joshua. We want to remain that way, and we are committed to seeing this happen. Thank you all.
Thank you. See, number 6 is Ashley Finch, if you'll get ready after Mr. Norris.
Thank you for entertaining this today. I really appreciate TxDOT and everybody else, the players, they're key to running this through. So in 2019, I decided to move to this beautiful town with my wife. First house, first marriage, and we've got the future ahead of us. Only to find out that we meet up in Joshua the last time that we met about this project. And then we were given a bunch of hopes and dreams and peoples to contact. And all of a sudden it gets railroaded, pun intended. So, I understand that we have new faces, new players, better commitments, federal funding. That's all wonderful, great, grand. The timeline's still gonna kick our tail. We understand that we can't prevent progress. And I think this is a beautiful opportunity to improve our community, to draw people in, to build a community worth living in for longevity. This is great. The opportunity is wonderful. But you're dangling a carrot in front of a ravenous, hungry, and starved individual. You're asking us again to make a decision. First, we didn't want to go underneath. Now we can't go underneath. Now we need to go over. I get that. It's easier. The one big hurdle that we've got is making sure that Santa Fe's side says, okay, gives us the blessing to go over. Cool. We have all of this understanding now. It's like the mayor said earlier, why can't we use any of these things? We just found out that there are timelines. We can't use this anymore. We have raw data that we can't expedite. There's no way, means, or process to expedite any of this. My wife hasn't been able to accommodate her living style. We've been put on pause since we acquired our house. I can't plant trees to build so that I can start my family memories. I can't modify my house the way that I want it because they're about to take it away. And now it's pushed on and on and on. By the time I've been there almost eight years. If this is going to happen, I really need it to happen. I need faith brought back to me. And I'm sorry. This is rather passionate, like I said, first time homeowner. But this place is grand. I'd rather live here. And then I'm going to have to be moved out. So if you guys say you're going to do it, please make sure they do it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Finch?
Well,
And
I was
next
gonna,
up
I was gonna,
Is Chase Davidson after Ms. Finch.
I was gonna make a,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna make a suggestion, okay? I mean, first of all, I knew this, I knew we were gonna get this kind of reaction, and because I completely understand it. Because, like I said, when I started looking through the project files and the history, it was very disturbing, very, very disturbing. So once again, I completely understand and expect everyone to voice their frustrations. Absolutely expected that tonight. No problem, absolutely no problem. And once again, I'm gonna be completely transparent. So what I would suggest is this: I'm perfectly willing to come back every 6 months and give you an update. All right? And Matt's going to come for free. No. I'm perfectly willing. Maybe me, some members of the COG. Timmy's my program manager. Timmy, you want to stand up? She's my program manager. Afat's the project manager. Alfred is our area engineer. We'll all come every 6 months at night, and we'll give you an update. How about that?
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to ask my question. I had a two-part question. So we own a property that is on Carlock Street, which will run right parallel to where the overpass will start. Do we know all the properties that will be included in the right-of-way acquisition yet? It may not be ours. If it is, well, we can deal with that, with all of that later. But if it isn't, do you guys know what happens to property value that's right up against an overpass? Because we're like we're like a stone's throw away from 917. So we just were kind of wondering, you know, where that would leave our property value.
Okay, so by law, I can't make offers for until we have a environmental document, but we can do right-of-way maps. So we can do meets and bounds, and we can determine how much right-of-way we're going to take in, and let's get past the public meeting, the public hearing. Let's get a little bit closer. Maybe this fall, I'll go ahead and go at risk and do right-of-way maps, and then see if I can get appraisals done. Okay, I'm not sure that I can do that, but I know I can do the property maps. I know I can tell you how much property we would be taking.
Perfect. And then, if ours is not included in that, where, do you know, like, historically, where property value stands for people that are right up against something like that? Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, our next speaker is Chase Davidson, and after Chase will be Logan Thurman.
Thank you, council, for giving me this opportunity to speak. I work in the field of civil engineering, not on this project, obviously, but I do think we need this project. I don't live in one of the parcels that's proposed to be acquired, but I do live in Joshua on the other side of the tracks, and I think 917 needs the connectivity of being continuous through Joshua and not being bound by the trains coming through it. That said, I do have concerns for the property owners who are being bought out, particularly with, I've heard some of them express concerns with not being able to use their property or to sell it, and I'm just, until like this moves forward. I know you addressed that, sorry. I know you addressed that you can't give them offers until environmental is done. If they were like willing to work with you, are you able to help? Or is that the way the law is structured, you can't do anything for them until?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Early acquisition is possible if it's a willing property owner. Okay, that is possible, but I'm not exactly sure how that works through the environmental. At what point we can do that, I'm not sure. But just let me say, typically we're really good about giving fair market value.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand like the value, but like I've heard people express concerns with like no one wants to buy their property knowing that it's going to be acquired for this. And so they're just kind of stuck in limbo until this project moves forward.
Let's see where we're at. Let's see where we're at in 6 months. Once we go have our public hearing, once we get a little bit closer to that environmental document being approved, let's see what we can do.
Okay, thank you. I did have another question if there's time, and that was just, is there any cost associated with this project for the city and the city taxpayers? I know TxDOT's funding it with federal grants, but I don't know if any of like
The cost
tie-in
for the
stuff
city will actually end up being, if we put the park underneath it, the park will be something the city has to maintain. The Council of Governments, we're working with them as far as some economic development funds to help offset that cost to build and get that going and everything. So yes, there will be cost, but there's no way we could begin to guess what it would be. But again, this is just something that it's got to be done. So, you know, it's a quality of life issue if we can get that park built, and it'll also bring a lot of traffic to the downtown area.
Do you think that additional traffic would like help offset with like increased tax values or like sales tax to kind of make up for the additional cost?
That's what we're
Okay,
aiming
because
for.
like right now we have one park that we have to maintain, and so that would be doubling the amount of maintenance we have.
That's price of growth.
Yep.
So, thank you very much. Logan Thurman, and then the next speaker would be Scott Atwood.
Good evening, everyone.
Just a moment.
Yep.
just had a quick comment to kind of partner with what he was asking, the previous speaker. One of our biggest issues that we've always discussed in this project is safety. In this project, being an overpass, is going to help us a lot with that safety. It's going to keep traffic flowing. It's going to help eliminate kids at school being late for the bell. It's going to eliminate people being able to get to work on time. It's going to ease the traffic flow in getting out of town to get to Fort Worth through the Chisholm Trail Parkway. There's so many benefits that this is going to help us with that are safety based, and that's been one of our key discussions all this time is our city's safety. Above and beyond a basketball court or a green space or a tree, we're more worried about safety, and this is going to really help the city to be safer in the traffic flow and things.
Thank you, Mike. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to speak this evening. My main concern here, I am the property owner of the property on the corner of Santa Fe and 14th Street. And this commercial property, I've been talking to several different coffee shop chains. There's one that's very interested that we've come to a verbal agreement about remodeling that building and putting a 7 Brew coffee shop in there. Now, we have gotten bids, we have put the plans together, we've secured financing, and we're getting ready to pull the trigger. However, my main concern, similar to what some of the other speakers have said, is that this just keeps getting pushed down the line, and it's put me in a tough position just with all the time and money behind the scenes to get this going. Do I continue to push forward just to have this property taken from me, or do I just wait for this acquisition to happen and it keeps getting pushed down the line? I appreciate the update every 6 months, but from talking to people in this community, this project has been pushed down the line over and over, and it's a tough position that this has put me in, and yeah, I want, I guess, some more confidence that this is going to be happening on this timeline, and I guess, what would you do in my position?
Let the expert speak.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, I mean, just to be perfectly honest, I don't know. Funding's not going to be an issue. Funding's not going to be an issue. The environmental document is not going to be an issue, but it's going to take time. Okay, so we're just looking at time. This is, and once again, I hate to keep saying this. This has been such this has been such an embarrassment that it's a top priority. It's a top priority. So funding's not going to be an issue. It's a federal bureaucratic process that we have to get an environmental document approved, and then we can make right-of-way offers. Everything else, all the coordination with the railroad, doing the construction plans, everything else is going to fall, moving the utilities, everything else is going to fall inside those 2 key events. So I don't know what to tell you. I will say this, I think 6 months from now we'll have a better idea. If we can get public support, we have not had a public hearing yet, have we?
No, we have not.
We have not had a public hearing. That's a big piece of this. We can't do anything without public support, and we get public support. That's a big part of that environmental document. Then we can start doing a timeline. But I've got to get to that public meeting, and I've got to get at least a draft environmental document. When do you think you'll have a draft done?
The draft is scheduled kind of the fall of this.
September, not, or
yeah,
October.
And I think the public hearing is after the. So our kind of our public engagement timeline beyond this meeting, we are assuming we get support tonight for this overpass option. The next opportunity, as we lay out the final path of the project, will be to work with individual property owners. We'll start to talk to them in advance of a public meeting to show that draft plan to the entire community. So we want both to make sure there's no surprises and to understand what the impacts might be on an individual lot, and kind of work with folks like yourself on what we can do to make it as best as possible. Then we'll start from that point. Once we have that public meeting and everybody's input is taken, then we can start really in earnest, not just collecting environmental data, but evaluating it against a firm alignment and right-of-way lines. And that's really kind of the start of that process. It takes us about 6 months to get all the reports put together, and then to develop the draft environmental document. And it's at that point that we can come back, have the formal public hearing that gets you to the point where, Michael can start sending out offers.
This is the EA document?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the short version of what he said. We get a draft document, which means this is what we think. So first of all, we got to have a public information meeting, and that's going to be May. We have a public information meeting. So by September, October, we have a draft document. Draft document means we think we got it. We think we're good. But we got to have a public hearing. We have a public hearing, which is a very formal event, and after the public hearing, we have to address all the comments from the public hearing. Then we send it to the federal government and they approve it. So by this fall, if we have that signed draft document, we should be good. Should be good. So I don't know what to tell you about your property because that's difficult. That's difficult, but I think by this fall we'll have a lot better idea for our schedule.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Atwood.
Good evening. I had 5 different speeches or proposals I was going to be talking about tonight, depending on how it went. And so I think it's gone good. Michael, I appreciate your honesty and your candor. So I want to just thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to express my strong support for the proposed highway overpass at the railroad crossing and to respectfully encourage the council to advance this project without further delay. I'd like to take a different approach this evening and not just kind of repeat some of the things that others have said. I'm a licensed engineer, civil engineer in the state of Texas. I worked for TxDOT in the Fort Worth district in the 80s and the 90s. I worked on and understand the TxDOT way of budgeting for projects. I not only provided information for projects like this young engineer back over here that spoke earlier, I sat in on budget conversations when and where and why decisions were made. I sat in on conversations regarding the Chisholm Trail Parkway in the 90s. I understand that it's made at a district level with very few decision makers. And Michael, I appreciate being here and taking ownership and champion the project. These projects is greatly influenced, and TxDOT is great, just to let everyone know, that TxDOT is greatly influenced by their state representatives. And our state representative was here tonight, and I appreciate her being here. It's much lesser to degree from the local elected officials, but I believe that the officials here tonight have all bought in on the project. And so it's very, I believe that the support is there. And what Michael needs with TxDOT is he may or may not like it, but he needs pressure from the public. And I'm not talking about on Facebook, but pressure from the public through the elected officials, and these are our elected officials, And if you have issues and problems and things are going on, this is the elected group that represents you to speak to TxDOT. That's the proper way, and it's not bashing people and organizations on Facebook. I'm going off script. Anyway. For these projects to be successful and to come to fruition, they need a local champion. And the local champion needs to come from the area office, which is in Keene, which is the area engineer, and the district office. This project has not had any lasting champions. You have to have a cheerleader, a rally maker that says whenever in the TxDOT offices or whenever they're having their meetings, we have to get this going, we have to push this through. This project has not had that. It's evident just from based on my experience. I haven't been inside the meetings, I don't know. I just know that what I've seen. And so, we'll just leave it at that. I've also worked with BNSF and the UP Railroads on projects. They both have their ways of doing things. The BNSF is very difficult to work with. Michael's talked about it. Michael Morris talked about it. They're probably here tonight, or a representative here is here tonight, or they're listening. Their only goal in life is to move freight as expeditiously as possible without delays through their segments. Meeting with TxDOT and dealing with construction only delays their mission. Because of this, getting things accomplished is like pulling teeth with BNSF. It's difficult. One of the tactics that the railroads use is that they will hijack one project if they want something else in another project. So for instance, yeah, we know you want this project in Joshua, but down here in San Antonio, we have this problem and we want TxDOT to do X, Y, Z. Those conversations are had in the back offices, in the back, when the conversations are going on. And I want to encourage TxDOT and the city to push forward that this project is the priority. And according to Michael, this is one of the top projects, and I appreciate that. As an engineer, I've designed and worked on bridges and overpasses over railroads, and they're much easier than going underground. And they've talked about that tonight. This project was initially proposed in 2016. The environmental impact study was performed, and a single house with 2 front doors was deemed historical. There was a lot of questions in my conversations with TxDOT people about how and why this happened. Who knows? But this killed the alignment back in 2016. And I asked TxDOT people if the project was dead. And they said, no, it's just held up environmental. And I would always say, it's dead. And they would just laugh and they'd say, yeah, new alignment was the only option. Now, this was in 2016. So going forward, they said, the positive things about this project is this. TxDOT has a vision of eliminating the double 90-degree zigzags in downtowns. They don't like that. We have that here in Joshua. And that's one of the things that's a positive for this project is getting rid of that zigzag. They also said that this crossing was critical and needed a grade separation due to the number of trains and the train switching that was going on. Again, the two Michaels have discussed that. And the other thing is the speeds that Amtrak comes through there. And all this increases the possibility of higher vehicular accidents. I was told that this was one of the, now this was in 2020, this was in 2020, 2021, before the new revised alignment in 22. I was told this was one of the top 3 railroad crossing projects at that time. I don't know the accuracy of it. I don't know where it falls in, but apparently it's now it's one of the top 5 projects that Michael is working on, TxDOT's working on. So, I have a couple of questions, and I want to know tonight, what guarantees and commitments from TxDOT does the city expect that this project doesn't stall like the last 10 years? I think we've heard this, but this is something that I think needs to be answered, and I think within the past few minutes, we're having 6-month updates. So I think that answers that question, and I appreciate that. And the follow-on is, how is the city going to keep this project moving? So this is more directed to the city council. What plans are in place, or proposed plans are put in place to keep the pressure on TxDOT to push this through? Because there's going to be problems. As an engineer, there's always problems. And it's our job to solve the problems. And I think we have a great team here to do that. Pape Dawson is an excellent engineering firm. They're highly regarded. And so I think TxDOT's picked a good engineering firm to lead this. So I had other questions, but I think they've been answered. But I think that's the main thing is, how is the city going to keep the pressure on and not just sit back and say, well, it's TxDOT, and just kind of let them go on? Because I think that's kind of what has happened in the past. So
We are working very well with TxDOT. We're getting a lot more communication than we've ever got from them before. City staff, specifically Mr. Peacock, is reaching out to them on a regular basis. We are getting a lot more response. We're getting it a lot quicker, at least what I'm hearing we are, and we see this going. We also have the current president of the RTC as one of our county commissioners. We get a lot of update and everything from them. So we've got the COG, we've got our city staff, and we've got TxDOT that are going to be working together constantly. The 6 months meetings are great for the public meetings. That doesn't mean we're not going to be having meetings quarterly with them like we were promised back in December. And so far we have met those meetings, and it has been great. We are moving forward. We are keeping in contact with them, and we plan to keep pressing as hard as we can.
So let me say this, and once again, you used to work for TxDOT?
Yes, sir.
What did you do? What was your job?
I was a construction inspector.
Okay, great.
And then went into the district office.
Okay.
And worked had a fancy title as assistant director of maintenance.
Okay.
But anyway.
All right. I want to make sure you didn't work on this project back in the 80s. No. I was going to blame this on you. Okay, so I've got a comment and I've got a suggestion. What you were talking about as far as putting pressure on TxDOT, I think that happened in August before I got here. I got here in September, but one of the first things David Salazar, district engineer, told me is 917 is a priority, and that we need to take care of business on 917. Also, let me say this: the mayor called me. Was it yesterday?
Yes, sir. Or the day before yesterday.
Day before. He called me on my personal phone, not my business phone. He can call me 24/7. Okay. I think the mayor is a huge advocate. I think he's your best point of contact. What I would suggest is we'll come here every 6 months, and then every 3 months in between, he can come see me. Yeah, he can come to my conference room. Me and Timmy will roll plans out and show him where we're at. So every 3 months, either I'm coming here or he's coming to see me. Once again, I understand all the angst on this project. The biggest thing is you have funding. You have construction funding. You have PEPS funding. Pape Dawson's not cheap. Okay, they're very good, but they are not cheap. We have funding all the way around. Now it's just about time. It's all about time at this point.
And the other thing, we are going to be working on keeping the public notified of how these meetings go. The city does put out a weekly newsletter, and when we have these meetings, our quarterly meetings, our 6-month meetings, what happened in those meetings will end up in the newsletter. So if you haven't, you can go to the city's website and sign up for the newsletter. It's short, sweet, and to the point, but it keeps you updated on what's going on. Plus, it will be posted on the city website, and I'm sure our social media will have a little bit on it from time to time as well. So we are going to keep the public informed on what's going on, because it is the citizens who need to be contacting not only us, but our county representative, our state representative, our state senator, to keep pressure that this project does not fall through the cracks like it has in the past. So
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Atwood.
Thank y'all very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Appreciate it. And Michael, I'm glad you're here.
Is there anyone who did not get a chance to sign up that would like to ask a question, if they can be quick and get on? Okay. What we're going to do then, we have a resolution, item number 3 on our regular agenda. I will read the resolution. Resolution number 2026-77, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Joshua, Texas, expressing strong support for the FM 917 Railroad Grade Separation Project, making findings and providing an effective date. Whereas the City of Joshua is a home rule municipality and exists under the laws of the state of Texas, and whereas the City Council of the City of Joshua has consistently supported improving FM 917 to improve mobility for the region, and whereas the City Council of the City of Joshua has determined that the FM 917 Railroad Grade Separation Project, we're going to just call it project from now on, currently under consideration and to be funded by the Texas Department of Transportation, would enhance the quality of life in Joshua, would provide greater safety to the traveling public by eliminating railroad motor vehicle accident potential on 917, would foster additional economic development potential in Joshua, would address and provide additional open space park opportunities in Joshua, and would be beneficial to Joshua as well as its residents and businesses. And whereas the City Council hereby desires to express its strong support for the project and requests that all necessary actions be taken by the North Central Texas Council of Governments as well as TxDOT to promptly effectuate the construction of the project in the City of Joshua. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Joshua that Section 1, all of the above premises are hereby found to be true and correct legislative and factual findings of the City of Joshua, and they are hereby approved and incorporated into the body of this resolution as if copied in their entirety. Section 2, the City of Joshua, the City Council of the City of Joshua, Texas hereby expresses its strong support for the project and urges the North Central Texas Council of Governments as well as TxDOT to take all appropriate actions to promptly effectuate the construction of the project in the City of Joshua. Section 3, the City Council hereby directs the city manager to communicate the city's support of the project to all appropriate entities. Section 4, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage, and it is so resolved. Passed and approved and adopted, hopefully tonight. One of the things that I see missing from this is the alignment question, because the last time that anything was talked about as far as alignment, it was to the south side of 917 or 14th Street. This alignment is going to be on the north side. It eliminates a lot of problems being on the north side, and it should speed the project up by staying that way. I think part of this resolution should include our support of the alignment on the north side of 14th Street, 917. Anybody else have any other discussion about this? No? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to, express support for the 917 Railroad Grade project.
Okay. So I got a motion by Dustin. I've got a second by Dakota. I would like to amend that motion to including the process of doing the alignment on the north side of the current 917 14th Street. Do I have a second on that? Okay, I got a second by Dustin. Okay, any discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to accept the resolution as stated with the addition of approving the alignment on the north side of the 917 14th Street area. Any discussion? All those in favor? It is unanimous. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank True Life Church for inviting us in here this evening and providing such a wonderful facility for us to have this meeting. I want to thank our elected officials and those of you that came tonight to show support and to voice your concerns about it. We don't know what everybody's concerns are. When we have more public meetings, please come back, bring your friends, bring your neighbors. We want this project to benefit everybody in the city of Joshua and in the county, because this is not just a Joshua project, as you can see. It is a county-wide project. So at this time, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 8:02.